In my humble opinion, I think Supergirl was actually really, really good. I don't really have much to say about it, so this is going to be kind of a quick review. Starting off, I want to say that the criticism I've been seeing towards the movie online is kind of stupid. Um, I know this isn't like the greatest movie of all time ever made, but people are acting like this is some sort of like abomination to like superhero movies out there. Now, is Superman a better movie? Yes, I'd say Superman is better than Supergirl. But does that mean Supergirl is bad? Absolutely not. And people online are painting it as if this is like the death of the DCU and this movie is a sign of what's to come and it's all going to be horrible and this, and that. When really, it's not bad. I don't know why people are making such a big deal about a movie that at its worst is just average and at its best is really good. I'm not sure what is like the big deal with this one. But yeah, let me get right into my thoughts. Now, starting off, I want to say that I read the original comic book that this movie is based on, The Woman of Tomorrow. It's a short little series, so you could honestly read it before you watch the movie if you haven't already. And I'd say that the comic is really good, and that the movie is a really good adaptation of that comic. One thing that this movie definitely gets right is Kara's characterization. She actually feels like her own person. Now, that sounds kind of obvious, like, yeah, no duh, she's gonna be her own person. But what I mean is, a lot of Supergirl characterization comes down to just being the female Clark Kent, when Supergirl is more than just female Clark Kent. You know, she does things her own way. She actually, kills most of her enemies. And we see that in this movie. Another really important thing is we get to see Kara and her people in their last moments together before she's separated when she's already an adult. You know, there is grief, there is loss, there is something to say there, and you can never really get that with Clark unless you change his origin story. Now, Kara's characterization is really good, but another character that's also really well done is Lobo. Lobo in this movie doesn't have a lot of screen time, but anytime he is there, he steals the scene. He's easily the best part of the movie, and I won't be surprised if I see a bunch of Lobo stands emerging because of this movie. Like, his characterization is great. He's kind of just like a comedic force of nature. He's not really there to squabble with Supergirl. He's more there to just do his own thing, and he just happens to be in the same area. I think he was one of the best parts of the movie, along with Kara, which is great when you have these two characters who you're following almost the whole time. It's great when both of them are really entertaining and really well written. The villain of the movie is this guy, Krem. He's kind of forgettable, but I don't think he was meant to be like the greatest of all time. He is just kind of like plot device, and it's fine. I'm glad that we have villains that are just straight up evil for no reason. I don't always need a sob story with a villain, and I like that about this one. Now, the only character that I don't like in this movie is, I forgot the kid's name, but the kid character in this movie, she's like 13, and her whole role is basically just to be a plot device. And I know that sounds mean. That's genuinely all her character provides in this story. Spoilers going forward from here. But this kid character shows up and says that they want to kill Krem because Krem killed their family and they want to just exact revenge. Which is, basic simple story, and it works. Unfortunately, this kid kind of does nothing the whole movie. This kid talks a big game about wanting to kill Krem and how Supergirl needs to help her to get to Krem, but we never actually see this kid do anything. She always has to be saved. She always has to, get in the way of things. She genuinely does not contribute anything. We never see a single fight between that kid or anyone else. And I think that you could have had this character be really interesting if the whole time this kid was actually like a badass and could fight and didn't need Supergirl's help. She would have needed Supergirl's help to find Krem and they could work together, but at the end of the day, this kid could hold their own. And, that would have been really interesting. Unfortunately, the movie doesn't do that, and the kid is just kind of along for the ride. Maybe I'm just biased because I don't like kid characters, but I personally was not a fan of the kid character in this movie. And now that I'm on the topic of things that I don't really like, I think a lot of the music in the movie was hit or miss. I'm not saying these songs were abysmal or anything. Usually when a song fits the story, you won't really hear it and feel like it stands out, It feels like, oh yeah, of course this character would listen to that song, or this song would reflect the themes of the movie, things like that. In this movie, a lot of the songs just kind of play at random points, and in one scene you'll have multiple songs play, and it's like, okay, did someone forget to turn off their Spotify mix, or what happened here? And I don't think most of the songs are even bad. I just think they're ill placed. I don't think anything was actually properly thought out and integrated in the best way it could have been. For example, there's a moment at the very end of the movie in the final fight, which I'm pretty sure is already like a meme online. There's a cover of a very popular song called The Middle, and I would say that the cover of the song isn't bad, just the way that it hops into the movie, just it's very awkward and it comes out of nowhere and it's not very well integrated. And since I'm talking about the final fight, let's get into the action. For the most part, I like the action in this movie. I think it's interesting that Kara flies around a lot more and slams her opponents, throws them around. She definitely ragdolls her opponents a lot more than Superman does, who usually just kind of tussles with them for a while. Kara tries to take them out as quickly as possible, and I really like that. You can see the differences in their fighting style, which is great. But one thing I did notice is, since Kara is flying around a lot, the VFX don't always look the best, but I guess it's not too big of a deal since it is pretty fast-paced action and she's kind of just flying across the screen, so I guess it's not a huge deal. It's just you'll notice weird CGI here and there. But yeah, I would personally give it like a 7.5, maybe even an 8. I think it's a very solid movie, and I think it's a very worthy, I guess, continuation of Superman or the DCU as a whole. If you want a really good time at the theaters and you really want a movie that makes you like feel good and feel a little depressed every now and then this one's a good time. Kind of wish it was a little longer. Kind of wish there was some post-credit scenes. I know that post-credit scenes in the DCU aren't going to set up other movies, but I just thought maybe, some dumb fun with crypto in the credits would have been nice. Just something like that. But overall, Supergirl was really good. I love Jason Momoa as Lobo.